In this video, I'm going to take you through my top 10 most likely issues to come up on the ACCA SBL examination for the 2024 sitting, which involves the company Rodnim Events. My name is James. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Be sure to subscribe because I'm going to take you through my exclusive SBL notes, which if you'd like a copy yourself, just click the link in the description of this video and you can have a copy and follow it along in the video. Also, I'm delighted to say I'm affiliated and associated with Astranti. They offer pre-scene packs, mock papers, and if you click a link in the description of this video, it's going to take you right there. I highly recommend them. And as always, for pure transparency on the channel, if you were to purchase anything using those links, I'd be entitled to a small percentage which goes to supporting the YouTube channel. As always, a massive thank you. I'm so pleased so many students are enjoying this video series. Leave me any comments, how are you getting on? If you've got any questions on the pre-scene materials, I will get back to you. But our area of most likeliness to come up, first of all, is the Pestel model. But I mean, there are just so many areas, but if you go to page 5 on here, where you look at the industry-related risks on here, left-hand side, we've got national economic conditions, environmental issues, legislation and regulation, operational issues. It's just saying to yourself, Pestel, Pestel, Pestel on there. The theory, the hints are there. There are other areas throughout the pre-scene materials. But if I was to say the number one theory model for you to be aware of that you've got to be comfortable in applying, it has to be Pestel on here. I don't have a crystal ball. It's a case of there are a variety of different areas you can see on the left-hand side now. I've applied lots of different areas from the competition, government interest on there, the temporary staff, technology, the environmental stakeholders, and the potential of lawsuits, non-compliance. Number one has to be Pestel. Number two, also on the screen on my left-hand side, is Swot analysis. These two theories have a high amount of information. Again, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats are throughout the pre-scene materials. They've got experienced founders, however, they are of a very small firm. There's opportunities out there like the public sector, the sports events, but the main threat potentially out there is that the directors have unlimited liability. If you were to come up to page 6, they are in a partnership, not a limited company. And therefore, if they were to rack up debts, if there was a lawsuit, potential fines, penalties. On the flip side of that, they could actually maybe go for an IPO and look at being a PLC. Again, SWOT analysis would be involved in this, weighing up the pros, the fors and against on there. Number 3, and I've slightly just given it away, I'm getting too keen on here, is an IPO itself, initial public offering, and linking into that, maybe agency theory being thrown in with a sprinkle of corporate governance. As I said, they are set up as a partnership, unlimited liability, but due to the size of the organisation and the market itself, we're talking about a company, if we come down to the fee income, in 2003, $780 million on there. They've got the potential in terms of the size and growth that an IPO could be around the corner, and therefore they could throw in the corporate governance factors, non-executive and executive directors on there. And in terms of agency theory, if you come up to my notes right up at the top on page 1, that is where we would then have shareholders involved and agents who would be operating as the managers, where potential conflicts of interest may arise between the principals and the agents. So don't overlook agency theory. That is definitely going to be an area in there. Coming on to now my area number 4, and this links into stakeholder theory because there are going to be internal and external stakeholders for you to discuss on your actual ACCA SBL exam. And this is where we have the topic of leadership coming into it now. Amanda and Safi own the organisation of Rodnim 50-50 in the partnership. Leadership is section A in the syllabus for SBL, and they don't really sort of test it too often on there. But the situation we have here with 34 full-time employees, then we also have the managers themselves. We've got one who's 22 years old, one that's vastly experienced, Jimmy on here who's doing every role under the sun, and he's a qualified accountant. And I think there's a lot to be said about leadership, talking about different elements of the hierarchy, and it could be linked into the next one we're going to come on to, but I don't want to spoil the fun on number 5. So that is number 4, leadership for you on there. And if it was to come up, be specific, refer to the specific names and the roles and the organisation. Page number 7 is what you want to have a look at. I was going to say for number 5, which it kind of links into, if there was an issue between the staff or the temporary staff who they employ on there, is number 5 is ethics. Ethics will be on your SBL exam in one way or another. And the reason why I think it's got a potential chance is if you come down to Rodnim's strategic aims on page 9, the third one is to encourage an open, respectful and ethical business culture. Again, just sort of giving you hints and ideas of ethics. Where could it sort of flow into this on here? We also have the industry body on the side looking at quality. Could come into effect that the industry body may have something to say if ethics was brought into account. But the bottom line, as always, make sure you know your ACCA code of ethics, integrity, objectivity, professional behaviour, professional competence and due care, and confidentiality. Apply those back to the scenario and the requirements set on your exam day if it was to come up, and you'll be on to a winner. So that is my area number 5 of ethics on there. Number 6, again, we've got hints, we've got ideas on here, is the Boston Consulting Matrix. Now, why do I say that? Well, we've been given on page 2 on the right-hand side figures relating to Harland, figures relating to Rodnim, and figures relating to the global market itself for events management. So I'm going to myself, hang on, the Boston Consulting Group model on there, we've been able to work out sort of roughly what percentage of revenue for Harland versus the percentage of revenue for the global economy is, and the global events management sector, I should say, as you can see from my mouse, is 5.5%. And Rodnim's fee income in proportion to Harland's overall fee income is about 2%. So what I'm getting at here for the model is that we have low market share on there, but as you can see from my mouse up at the top, 11% annual growth for the next 5 years globally in the events management business. It's got a high rate of growth. So we're currently in the question mark quadrant as to, is it going to be a positive outcome for this organisation? But if we get over that low market share and keep the high growth rate, that is when it could develop into being a star within the actual model itself. So that is my area number 6, just to be aware of the Boston Consulting Matrix. Next one on there, number 7, is Porter's 5 Forces. I bet you're wondering when I was going to throw that one in there, especially as we saw it at the start of the video. Competitive rivalry, supplier power, buyer power, threat of substitution and threat of new entry. Currently at the moment, based on the pre-scene, we've got more information of competitive rivalry, that 26% of Harland's market is for smaller firms, which Rodnim falls into, and the threat of new entry is definitely there, especially with the multinational companies entering into the market. It's highly competitive and could link into maybe areas and points on barriers to entry. Something for you to look at. There are a variety of different factors, but if it was to be tested, I think the sort of buyer and supplier power or threat of substitution could be something that could come up in the unseen information on the exam day. So that is number 7, Porter's 5 Forces. Number 8 for topic area, I've got environmental or environmentally and sustainability, or sustainable for you. This is where page 5 and 6 are our starting points, because we've got environmental issues highlighted in the industry related risks. So again, some major factors on there that link into a variety of different areas. Then when we come on to the non-financial KPIs, again, we've got environmental sustainability, another factor, with the key point you'll see in my notes if you've got them downloaded, is there is no sustainability or environmental role descriptor for any of the managers or either of the partners on there. Another massive factor, along with, you see in the industry body, one of the areas that they look to improve is the environmental practices. So it's almost as if it's just sort of sprinkled throughout the pre-scene notes, and a savvy student who's really read it through, understood the pre-scene materials, If an environmental and sustainable manner comes up, they'll go straight to the strategic aims from Rodnim's website, and they've got all these different areas we've talked about on here. Pages 5, pages 6 and pages 9 for environmental and sustainability. Number 9 now, I've got Ansoff's Matrix, and this is going to relate into new and existing products and markets on there. So you've got to be coming up to the actual pie charts now, which is on pages 3 and 4. We've got bits of the international market on page 2, but what we're getting at here is for the different products or the different types of events that we have on and the markets where they operate, whether we're looking at private, public or corporate, we've got things to consider from the actual matrix about where are we actually fitting in terms of product development is needed, market development is needed, maybe some diversification to give us a better competitive advantage, or maybe we could go a bit left field or try virtual events for a market penetration strategy, again to target particular areas that, as we know from the preceding notes, the growth events highlighted areas of real prosperity are sports and virtual events. That's why I just sort of went, got to go in there. Number 9, Ansoff's Matrix, pages 3 and 4. And last but by no means least, we've got area number 10 now, which is a merger or acquisition. Now the reason why I say that is because, as you can see on here, the market is just huge. We've got revenue generated in Haaland in 2003 is 108 billion. And in terms of percentages, Rodnim's fee income, you can see where my mouse is, in proportion to Haaland's fees, is only 2%. And then if we take them in proportion to the other, in terms of the revenue on there, it's only 0.72%. So you kind of get the gist of maybe Rodnim might actually be acquired, or they may actually merge with another small company themselves. And this is where the CSR factors can come into it, your SBL professional skills mark, so questioning, being skeptical, and producing your commercial acumen back to the scenario. The reason why I'm thinking about it is we get told about collaboration and cooperation, the bargaining power of these smaller firms, joint ventures and strategic alliances you can see on the left-hand side. Maybe these companies might start to work together and then they might decide to merge. Could link into areas and points on capital structure on there. We might be given more information on, say, the cash flow or the balance sheet, so we could look at the debt and equity and the capital structure, maybe gearing of the organisation. Again, it's just sort of, you kind of get a whiff of it and you go, oh, could come up, and it might link into some of the other factors involving interest rates on there and could test you from another angle. That is why I have for number 10, mergers and acquisitions with potential capital structure thrown in as a sort of side dish on the end. And that nicely takes you through, ladies and gentlemen, my top 10 highly likely issues to come up on your examination. I hope you've enjoyed the video and the notes. If you'd like a copy, as I said, click the link in the description where you'll be able to download a copy yourself. Make sure you take advantage of the mock papers and that pre-scene analysis pack from Astranti. Could make the difference in doing those past papers to time to get you that 50 plus on there. And be sure to subscribe so you get access to all the videos on the channel. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments, what might come up yourself, and I'll see you on the other side now for another video. So thank you very much.